While out walking in Melbourne one Sunday, I came across a couple of things which spoke to me of alternative cultures and independent thought. Quite heartening for those of us who believe that life is about more than entertaining or being entertained, and think that art can embrace communal and collective approaches rather than the competitive and territorial tactics adopted by academia and capitalism.
Refugees are welcome here, nor hate, nor fear. Refugees are welcome here, nor hate.
I guess I'll bill.
Hey Mark, how's it going? And now we are at the Artist Film Workshop at the Australian Centre for the Moving Image. It's called ACME. AFW at ACMI.
Do you have any plans for showing here? Are you doing the screenings here, or are you committed to long play?
I used to hire this cinema, and about 15, 20 years ago, it didn't cost much. Now it's very expensive.
Yeah.
How much does it cost now?
I don't know, $1,000 I think, even just for this cinema. Close to Mark.
But he wouldn't be paying for that, would they? This would be like a freebie, wouldn't it?
Well, I think it's probably in association with ACME, the screening.
Okay.
This is run by ACME, this screening, isn't it?
I think so, probably.
And what's ACME?
That's the organisation here.
Okay. Yeah,
Australian Centre for the Moving Image.
Right.
Which is
it's very swish, isn't it?
government-funded kind of film complex. So, yeah, very swish. It's one of the main government agencies. It's just changed names over the years.
Yeah.
But it's been around 40, 50 years. You can draw a line back to what it was called in the past. But yeah, it's pretty good. But they should respect the independent filmmaker a bit more.
Right.
Put on more underground stuff, or have it, have this cinema available for hire for like a few $100 even, not
or free,
800 or 900. I mean.
Good afternoon. My name is Christy Matheson. I'm the director of film here at ACME, and on behalf of myself and my colleagues, I'd like to offer a very warm welcome to this afternoon's screenings from the Artist Film Workshop. Through practical filmmaking workshops, a regular screening and publishing series, and providing a space for artists to work, AFW has nurtured new and established filmmaking practices, and it has genuinely enriched the screen culture of our city.
Each artist introduced their own film. The excerpts shown here are rough approximations only, filmed off the screen during the presentation. These works are much stronger when seen in person.
It's a film called Locks, partly because it's made up of L shapes, U shapes, and X shapes. And it was shot at in and around the Lux stove factory in Brunswick at the time when it had closed as a stove factory but not yet reopened as an apartment renovation. So it's partly about this kind of urban renewal churn, which has been another feature in the history of AFD.
To see work such as this, please attend your local artist-run or micro-cinema.
My film Satellite was shot on colour reversal film stock and hand processed in the lab. I then used a contact printer to produce repetition and colour sequences that you'll see in the work. The soundtrack was made by Equiveltime. And the sound is composed of a single fragment of a woman's voice that is replicated and modulated, circling around the image at different speeds. The idea was that the sound and the image were performing the same ritual in unison. Thanks.
So the next film is a film I made about a month ago, and it came from a post that I made on Facebook. It had its origin in a post. Now, quite often on Facebook, I just write anything that comes to mind. I'll note it down.
Hi, my name is Hannah. I just want to start by saying thanks to Christy and Fiona for the opportunity to put this screening on. It's really great to be here, so thanks for having us. Thanks, ACME. My film that's screening here is called Soda. It's a film I made a couple of years ago, kind of exploring different ways of capturing bubbles on film. So some of them are filmed with a Bolex, and others are made using various cameraless techniques in the lab. The soundtrack's by Rowan Drape, so thank you for having me.
I also wanted to thank Richard and Diana, I think, for starting the lab. It's been a very interesting experience for me. I also started at the that first workshop during the film festival. Had an interest in photography, and I was doing a lot of things in my dark room at home, but only in black and white. And this was an opportunity to learn. At least for me, I just wanted to learn how to print colour film.
In Between the Sign is found in a film by Ho Xiaoshen from 2007. It is called The Flight of the Red Balloon, which was commissioned by the Musée d'Orsay and shot in Paris. In the film, the main character, named Song, is a filmmaker herself. She works as the minder of for the child of a puppeteer, Suzanne, played by Juliette Binoche. Finally, the sign finds its way onto the home of the filmmaker in Abbotsford, Australia. It can be seen flashing on the floor in their unfurnished apartment. In Europe, the pharmacy may also be symbolised by the colour red, as in the German and Austrian apothecaries. Green, the colour of growth and thus life, was adopted for the everyday use by retailers, signifying the presence of a chemist who may prescribe pharmaceuticals to the public. Red is a colour that is usually indicative of dangerous or toxic ingredient. One also thinks of the meaning of these colours as traffic lights, the difficulty in passing, the difference between the two, safety or danger, is at the threshold which the pharmacy operates. The sign will usually tell us the date and the time, and perhaps also the temperature. Framed within the cross, it also includes the symbol of health, either a serpent which surrounds the rod of Asclepioles and the bowl of Hygeia, who was Asclepioles' daughter and the goddess of health and hygiene. Sometimes the formulation RX is also present, the symbol meaning prescription or recipe.
Hello. A lot like life, analog film can be very messy. That messiness takes the form of space. Shoot a roll of film, process it. You need somewhere to process it and dry it. Then you've got this lumpy film. Do some printing tests and make a print of it. Now you've got two films. You've got to store them somewhere. Also, you need big heavy things like printing machines, which are dangerous to move. They're so heavy. And you need editing benches and splicing machines and projectors and all that sort of stuff. Hence the collective. I mean, that's the one of the main points of it, in order for us to have a place where people can access that stuff to do things themselves. One of the things that's interesting about analog film, of course, is a byproduct of this messiness. The physical film, in some respects, the film itself tells a story of where it's been and what it's been subjected to. Obviously not a literal story, but at least keeps a record of some sort, like a trace of what it's been through, and a trace of the people who've had to work on it. Especially doing the kind of work that we do at AFW, which is very much darkroom based. It's where people are spending a lot of time with their hands touching the film in chemistry and what have you. That physicality, the traces of that handling are evident and are part of the charm of it. This film of mine involves a chemical technique that Diana and I came up with. And it allows you to take a piece of film and develop it in such a way that parts of the film come out colour positive and some parts colour negative and some parts black and white, or you can have black or clear or what have you, all on the same strip of film. And it's quite a useful technique to teach people.
Love you.